Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to this video about setting data with React. So in the previous video, we have been looking at how to get data from a server. And in this video, we are going to set data on a server. And this could be, for example, a post, put, patch, and delete request. Now I'd like to ask you to copy and paste your code that we've been making in the React Forms video. And if you can't find it or haven't watched that video yet, you can find this code down in the description. And this is just a nice way to get started with making a post request. So it's essentially a form with a title and a body input, and then the on submit button, and all the events are handled as well. So in this video, we are going to skip the loading states, but we will be doing an error and success state. So we're going to use JSON placeholder again, and we've been making use of getting a resource. You see they have a lot of other options, also creating, post, updating, put, patching, patch, and deleting, which is a method delete. And let's start with creating a resource, so a post request. So right here, you see in the body, we need to send the title, body, and user ID. So of course, right here, we do have the title and we do have the body, but we do not have that user ID. And if you will be watching the video about authentication in React in the advanced series, then you will find out that most of the time this user ID is something we set globally, so it's accessible for like the entire application. So for now, we can say user ID is 1. So we just hard code it right here. So now when I click on console, you will see then whenever I pass some random data right here, you will get that object console logged with that user ID. So instead of console logging, we want to make the actual request. So we can wrap that in a try catch block, and we could say const response is because we want to await the response from the server, and we take Axios. You will see it will import it automatically. I'll just put it down below here. And I can say axios.post. So in the previous video we used get. Now we are going to make a post request, as you see right here. Right here they are using, by the way, fetch, which is another way to fetch data. However, we are working with Axios. And but yeah, we can essentially just copy this endpoint right here. And then as a second parameter, we need to pass the data, which in our case is the form data. So now we could then console log the response. However, you will see await is not going to work because we need to have an async function then. So I would just put async right here. So we will add the error and success state in a minute, but for now, when I save this, and I go back to my React app, do a refresh, and now when I put in some random data, you will see that we actually have made a request. We have a successful status code, and it returned a new object, as you can see right here. And what is important though to notice is that, and it also says it right here, that this post is not actually put on the server, but it will be faked as if. So if we go over here, currently we are creating a client-side React app. And what we just did is made a request to the JSON placeholder server. And usually is the case that when you make a post request, that server will also actually change the data in a database. But you can imagine that JSON placeholder wants to prevent that. You know, people can you know, they could remove all posts, so people will get error messages when they are fetching the posts, and people can use it as a way to, for example, store data for free. So the request we just did not actually save our post in the database, but it will just, well, kind of like fake it as if. But yeah, this is, if we go back to our application, this is perfectly fine. Right now we got back the new created object, and you can see they also gave us an ID which was created by the server. And also, of course, you can find this in your console now, right here under the data property. So what we could do now, we could say once we could actually add two states. We can say const success. Say set success. Say use state by default, it's false. And then we can also add an error state. And that is also false by default. And then instead of console logging, we could say set success to true, because this line will only be executed if this succeeded. And now we can, of course, remove the response variable because we are not going to use it anymore. And right here we can say set error to true. And then let's say down the button, below the button right here, we could say if error is true, then show a paragraph tag with, let's say, oops, could not upload post. And if it's successful, so if success is equal to true, then say post upload has succeeded. So now when you save it and add some random data here, you will see that right now the post upload has succeeded. And if we, for example, would make a request that is not valid, like this, then you will see that we get that error state in here. So that's pretty much it for setting data on a server. The patch and put requests are pretty much the same as a post request. If you go down here, you'll see it also requires a body. Same goes for patching a resource, or you could change, for example, the title or the body. And deleting is essentially, well, right here they are removing post number 1. And again, also this will not be really removed from the JSON placeholder server, but it will just pretend as if that was the case. The next thing is, I will go back right here, is a file upload. And what I did, and you can find this code now on GitHub as well. But what I did is I created a file, and it's called file upload. I'll just actually open it like this. There we go. So obviously a lot of applications allow users to upload files as well. And this is the most common way to do it, at least from my experience. So what I can do, I can just comment out the app component and go to file upload. So we're not going to build this from scratch, but we'll just I'll just quickly show you what's going on here. So again, also here we have a form with an input of type file, and this accepts JPEG images and PNGs. And it's kind of like the same, right? So also here we have the onChange event and the onSubmit function. And right now it will post the form data, and you see we can initialize it with form data and then append the file to it. And the file is essentially the event that target that files. And you could, for example, add multiple files, but it will just pick one file in this case. So that's why we are targeting that specific file with 0 right here. And I can show you that because if I now upload a file, let's take this image of a cat, and now when I navigate over to components, you will see that the state, which is the file right here, has all these, it has all these properties: the size, the type, the name, the last modified date, and so on. So right now if I click on upload file and I go to my network tab, you will see it actually did that post request right here. You can see also right here in the form data we have the file is a binary type. But of course it failed because Mitchell asked that IO is not an existing domain, or at least is not accepting the request. But like assuming that we have an endpoint where we can actually post that image to, this code would work. So I wanted to show you that as well. So yeah, that was it pretty much for this video, and I'd like to see you in the next one.